feel strange. I feel incredibly strange. Indescribably so. What if the stage walked away from the players? What if the battleground left the soldiers behind and gave them nowhere to act out their war? What if the scene left? What if there was no scene there at which any of these dramatic events could unfold? What if the world stopped participating in a story? What if the day that was supposed to be dismal dared to be beautiful instead? What if the volcano that was meant to explode at the climax of this epic saga just decided to take a nap? What if the stage lights came up right in the middle of that dramatic confession, and everything was too bright now, and the illusion was ruined, and it feels strange. I feel quiet, but there is so much noise within me. Yet I'm noticing the quietness of myself. I had felt this morning, and maybe for a handful of days now, as though there were some great war playing out within me. A war for my identification, for my attention. At certain points, it's appeared as though it were some kind of battle between angels and demons. I can see all of these characters are the same. They wear different costumes. They speak with different inflections. They offer different things. Some of them offer power. Some of them offer peace. Others threaten what would be taken away, what I will no longer have access to if I don't agree to align with them, to make their motivations my own. But all of them are the same. Underneath, and then underneath that, they all appear to be characters created by the mind. Ultimately, all of it just presence, as anything is. But I'm not trying to understand that. I'm seeing how understanding is how it's been a fear response in me. How understanding is a subtle way to try to gain control. It's not required for acceptance. I don't need to understand a single thing to accept a single thing. In fact, the understanding that I'm seeing now feels more like a projection. How do we use this word? We talk about understanding people. We talk about understanding why they've done the things that they've done. I feel like all I'm doing there is projecting a character on someone and examining the scripted character motivations. This is how we talk about characters. So why in this scene does so-and-so react this way? Well, because they had this experience 10 years ago, as we saw in the flashback, and now they've carried this feeling with them about this, and so this is going to be triggering for them, and da-da-da-da-da. This is the understanding of why people behave the way they do seems to me, in large part, to be looking at the script, determining which character it is that they're playing. It feels more just like the mental gymnastics that happen when the mind is dictating how a character reacts. Building a character. The mind is building a character. Character is built by the story. All of the motivations are written in. They're scripted. The dots are connected manually. And I'm not trying to say that understanding things is never a good thing or useful or worthwhile or that it's bad. I'm seeing in my own mind how fear-driven that is, actually. It's not really loving. It's different from asking. It's a telling. The kind of understanding that the mind does is projection. It's telling. I'm seeing how this works. I know how this works. I'm going to tell you why this is the way that it is. This is why you feel this way. It's not asking. It's not leaving any room for interpretation, for things to change. It's kind of demanding. It fills in space rather than leaving space. Space for things to stretch and shift, become different, and just be the way that they are for the time being, and then maybe change if they want to. There's a penning in happening. And I'm noticing too all of these words. It's interesting. Words like pen, which means both in English a confinement and a writing implement, or in fact even the act of writing. To pen something is to write something down, right? To write the story, pen the story, or to trap, to enclose. The word cast, meaning both to, again, it's both a noun and a verb in English. The cast is the collection of characters. To be cast or to cast someone is to ensnare them in this story, to rope them into a role, to cast them as a character. And it also means to project, to throw, to put upon, to cast. You can cast a spell. You can cast your gaze. There's like a hypnosis there. One day I'll figure out what to do with these hairs. I'm trying to grow them out to match the length there. Anyway. And then there's the word direct. Direction. Direction. We talk about direction like guidance, right? Which direction do I go? I want to be guided. I want to be directed. And what is it that happens in a play, that happens in a story? There's a director. And the director is telling everyone what's going on. The director is telling the characters how they feel. You should feel annoyed here. Your character should be annoyed in this scene. They're setting the tone, they're setting the pace. They're controlling everything. They're telling everybody how to feel to enact this story. In order to enact this story, we need conflict. So your character is mad. I'm telling you, your character is mad. And your character doesn't understand and is trying to understand, and you know, this is the conflict, and that's direction. It's being told what to do. So I've really been watching. I've been so determined to stay awake, but of course it's a bit unfamiliar. I haven't set out with this level of determination, stubbornness to not be drawn into a character. I can feel that I've reached this point a number of times before, and it is around this point that, you know, the war really escalates. This whole cast of characters, just voice after voice, comes out, each of them trying to convince me that they are me, that their motivations are my motivations, that their desires are my desires, that their feelings are my feelings. So it feels like there are all these voices that are telling me, trying to tell me how I feel, trying to tell me what I want. And all I can do is just sort of keep shrugging. Arguing with any of them is to play one of them. Arguing doesn't work. They would love that. They would love if I would just argue. I would take some sort of position. Because again, that's sort of what is wanted. It would pen me in. If I were to take a position, if I were to take a sort of solid stance, I would be penned. I would be identified. And I am just shrugging that off over and over, trying to just come back to me, which is I am. I'm being. At this point, I'm not convinced any of these emotions are mine. And I'm not, again, pushing them away. I'm not telling them to leave. I'm just saying that I'm not carrying them. I'm not taking this on as a part of me. I'm not making this a part of my role, my character's experience, because I'm not playing character. So I'm just not going to be told how I feel. And that means I don't know how I feel. I know that I feel. I know that I feel. I know that I'm feeling all of this shit. I know that I've felt tremendous unhappiness, tremendous suffering the past couple of days. I know that's present. I know annoyance has been present, irritation, aggravation. I know sadness has been there. despair, all of this familiar. I know that there's been righteousness. Again, not judging any of this, just saying this is what's been through here. These are the characters that have passed through here, these feelings. And they're all kind of clamoring in the background too. They're not, they're not gone. I'm not rejecting any of them. I'm just not identifying with any of them. Because really, none of them feel like me. None of them feel like mine. They all have this sense of like coming in, not coming from. Because I'm standing here watching and listening. I'm not standing in the position of, I haven't taken the position of a character. If I take the position of a character, then it looks like they're coming from me. Then there's this sort of appearance of things coming from me. But all I have to do is shift my perspective a tiny bit. It's sort of like look down and see that, these are not my shoes. Like, this is not, I'm not talking literally about this body, but I think you catch my drift. To just feel that the thoughts are coming in, the feelings are coming in. It doesn't feel like it's emanating from me. And that's a very weird thing to notice. That seem to emanate from me feel different. They do. They don't appear to have a source. They are emanating. It is like something that is just, glowing from me, coming from me. They don't have some other source. They don't feel like they're coming in. They feel like they're just sort of floating around. I don't know if out is the right word either, but there's a sense of harmony with them, of connectivity with them. There's an ease to them. They're not demanding. They don't demand anything. The feelings that appear to be mine, that feel like mine, make no demands. They don't demand anything externally or internally. They don't feel demanding to me. They're not asking anything of me. And they're not asking anything of anyone or anything else. They're just here. Just sort of float through. They don't seem to have stories attached. These other feelings, even when it's quite subtle, feel like they're born of stories. They're embedded in stories. So like the annoyance, for example. I woke up, my body felt okay, I laid back down for a little while, and then when I got up again, my shoulders hurt. And that's when the annoyance happened. And again, I'm not judging this. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. And I'm only talking about myself, not anybody else. But it seemed to me pretty apparent quickly. It felt like I was being told to feel this way. It's one thing to sit up and go, oh, now my shoulders hurt. I would like them not to hurt. Maybe I don't like this as much. This is contrast, or I would like them not to hurt. But this doesn't destroy my peace. It doesn't destroy my joy, my satisfaction. This is what it is. I know nothing is permanent. I don't need to worry about this. This experience of pain in my shoulders isn't a threat to me. So it doesn't need to become this big deal. There's no story attached to it. It doesn't mean anything. But the annoyance felt like it meant something, right? That the annoyance felt like it came from a story that the pain in my shoulders meant something, and that I should feel some type of way about it. And then it just didn't feel sincere. It didn't feel authentic. It's like, I'm not really annoyed with this. I might not like it. I might like for my shoulders not to hurt, but also I know that happens, and I know that I don't need it to happen to still feel good right now. This doesn't keep me from feeling good. I would have to give up feeling good. That it's not a thing that is changed by conditions. A condition could convince me to give up feeling good, but it's not even the condition itself. It would be the mental reaction to a condition that would convince me to give up feeling good. And that doesn't mean that there can't be, again, dislike, pain, grief, feelings that are challenging, whatever, the feeling of challenge. That's all allowed to be there. But to be like so disturbed in it that I've surrendered my peace, which is saying that I need this to change. I need these conditions to be different. That would have to be willingly done, and it would only happen because of a mental story saying I need this to be different or else I can't feel good, and my unconscious alignment with that story, my decision to play that character, the character that cannot be at peace now. The character that cannot be at peace now, ultimately that's underlying every character. That's the motivation. Every mental character says, I cannot be at peace until. That's what drives the story. That's what creates the conflict, the drama. I cannot be at peace now. Something has to change. You have to change. I have to change. The world has to change. The weather has to change. My clothes have to change. And it never ends. It never ends because that is the underlying motivation and purpose of these characters. Their entire existence is based on the scripted line, I cannot be at peace until. And it just keeps updating. Just keeps changing. You satisfy one condition and another one comes in. Now, I do enjoy easy conditions, and I believe I get to ask for that. I enjoy being taken care of, and I believe I get to trust that. I choose to trust that I am taken care of. But that's something that exists beyond conditions, outside of the specific conditions of a given moment. My well-being is reflected in every condition. The reality that I am taken care of is reflected in every condition. I don't have to suffer. Regardless of what the conditions are, I don't have to suffer. I don't have to attach meaning to them. I don't have to attach to them. I don't have to become a character playing a role within them. I don't have to suffer. I don't have to apologize for not suffering anymore. I don't know what conditions look like when I'm not suffering. I don't need to know what they look like. They're free to be whatever they are. I get to ask, the things I'm asking for are feelings. Everything is a feeling, ultimately. If we didn't feel things, we wouldn't know that they were there. Everything is experienced, right? Without experiencing, without feeling, there's nothing there. So everything I'm asking for is feeling, is experiencing. I'm asking to experience well-being. That doesn't necessarily need to be tied to a condition. I don't need a condition to give me well-being. I am allowed to reach directly for that, to find it and to feel it. I'm allowed to permit well-being unconditionally as my experience. I'm allowed to choose calm. I'm allowed to choose satisfaction. Even if other energy that I experience within myself is different, is anxious or agitated, I don't need to take that on as mine. That's maybe like a buffet of sensations, But I don't have to eat from those trays. I don't have to put despair on my plate. It can exist in the buffet. It can exist. I don't need to incinerate all despair. I don't need to eliminate it from existence. I just don't need to put it on my plate. I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to just leave it where it is, not pick it up, not touch it. I gotta go inside. Trying to be early today, or at least not late, but anyway. It's a weird feeling. I feel very floaty, very dreamy, very in between. Sort of a liminal space, I guess. I feel like everyone is everyone. I feel like there's a lot of noise in here. There are a lot of characters, all of them puppeted by the same master, directed by the same director. The mind is just playing all of these characters that are sort of waving scripts at me, waving contracts, making demands, making offers, trying to get me to agree, to buy in, to play along. And I'm not interested. I just want to be me, and I want to experience myself. I don't want to be a character. I don't want to be the next version of me, the better version, the whatever version. I don't want to be a version of me. I just want to be as I always am, and always have been, and always will. I want to be without the labels, without the stories. It's not a good thing. It's not a better thing. It's just, it feels better to me. I'm bored with the stories. I've been over there. I've tried a bunch of shit. I know there's some sort of compelling nature to it, but it's not that compelling anymore. I'm really not that interested in being a hero or a villain or a victim or, throwing off the chains, whatever. I'm just tired of that. I would like to do what I haven't done, which is just be me, undefined. No script, no direction, no story, no frame, no penning in, Just me. Just here. Just experiencing. Open-ended. Unguided. Present. It's not cool. It's not admirable. It's the discarding of all those things. I'm not any kind of person. I'm just personing. I'm just here humaning, being. Not good or bad. Just open. And it's something the mind cannot understand. Because to understand it would be to limit it. It would be to script it. So there's no understanding this. There's no explaining. There's no justifying. None of it. And I'm going to leave it at that. I love you. Take it easy.